Just not getting it.
Welcome everybody out there in podcast land. The Good Times with Good People Company proudly presents the Loft Party Podcast, where it is always about good times, good people, and good talk. Good. Now that you've received your invitation, join us. Grab a cocktail, light a cigar, or whatever you like to smoke. Tell a friend, and welcome to the party. I'm your host and moderator, Rio, and let's introduce today's panel. First we have Big Dave Elliott. He is the owner of C&P Construction. We have Brian Massey. He's a market analyst for True Media, and he is our resident brain mass. And of course, the anonymous female, because she doesn't want you to know her name. And today, on episode 49 of Loft Party Podcast, it's what I don't understand is, and so what I was hoping is that everybody would have at least one thing they had a question about. It's just it doesn't even have to necessarily be political. That's something it's been bugging me. I don't understand it, and maybe the group can help. I do have a couple of political things on the agenda for today, but actually I wanted this to be funner, lighter-hearted podcast, if at all possible. If at all possible.
It's always possible.
Yeah, but before we get into that, I do have RIP, and that is one of these singers from Sister Sledge, Joni Sledge.
Didn't they have another sister earlier than this?
If I'm not mistaken, their oldest sister.
The oldest sister passed. I think there's only one sister left.
Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken.
They were fun, man.
Yeah. Look, Sister Sledge, we are family.
Everybody danced to Sister Sledge at one time or another.
At one time or another. All right, so before we get too deep, thought I'd have a little fun. One or two people on the panel have asked about some of the games that we have played on, and I definitely didn't want to get into a full game, but the anonymous female saw a couple of things online, and they were pretty fun questions, and I thought it might be fun. So the first is, and we'll start with brain mass. We'll go that way around. If you could bring back one celebrity from the dead, who would it be?
Just off the top of my head,
quickly.
It'd be awesome to see if he was able to.
And where would have Jimmy gone with his music by now?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because he was so innovative in the first place. A lot of people don't know this, but Jimi Hendrix came up with the Isley Brothers.
Yeah.
You know, the Isley Brothers had a very interesting sound because it was R&B, but it was also
It had a lot of funk in it.
had a lot of funk and rock.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Isley can play that guitar.
Yeah.
Backward, forward, sideways, and upside down.
Yep.
They had a great sound, a great feel. I mean, you listen to a lot of their songs, and then they did a lot of easy ballads. They were into some pretty sexy music too.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
and I love
I'm
him.
going to concur with you.
You know, you want to get your lady up and get belly to belly, do a little slow stuff. They lead you to a good night, right?
See, and I love.
Hey man, I may be old, but I still remember that shit.
I loved Bandit Jib. That whole album. Those things. Some of the music, the songs he'd get into, just go completely off script.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
everything's
Just-
open feel.
Yeah, you had a bunch of musicians. You know, I was thinking about that the other day. You know, I make music, and I do make most of my music. It may sound as live as I can make it sound, but it's computer generated. But I always think the best times that I'm making musicians in a row, like it's just nothing like that feeling, nothing like that. Like I say, even just slight imperfections, if you're playing a repetitive riff, but you get slight imperfections, fingering every single time, it's just something to be said about that.
I enjoy jazz for that reason. You know, you listen to some of Herbie Hancock stuff and some of the different stuff that's been written by him.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's written some, and so many other musicians have played his music. There's some really good stuff there.
Oh, absolutely.
That's when I'm tired of listening to the radio. I'm driving around. I got satellite. I put it on some real jazz. Start getting into
Oh yeah.
Miles Davis and some of this stuff, and some of these old artists. You know,
Yeah, if you really like that
Poncho. They start getting into a little Latin stuff and good stuff.
back and forth, Hey the Fleck, probably not something I normally recommend. Part where Victor Wooten, he's a bass player.
Bruce Springsteen, and him and the big man get going back and forth.
Oh yeah.
Man, there was some good shows. I've seen that 4 or 5 times where those guys just get up and it's just crazy. The big man was a phenomenal guy, man. Huge presence.
Who would you bring back, Big Dave?
Yeah, I'm a pretty old school guy. I like being a man's man. I had a guy that said he said a lot of things in his life, and really in the movies anyway, he treated his ladies and dealt with them in different ways. Old John Wayne.
John Wayne.
I think I would like to sit down and just spend a little time with John Wayne.
You know, I can believe that. I can believe that. I can see that.
He was a straightforward guy.
You surprised me with Hendrix. Now, I can believe it once you said it because I know you're a musician too. But I can definitely see you wanting to have a conversation.
Yeah, John Wayne and I could go a long way. He smoked too many cigarettes, but I'm sure I could get him smoking a cigar with me and having a cocktail.
There you go.
And we could go a long way. So yeah, you know, he was just you look at a lot of his movies and the Leading Lazy played with like The Quiet Man, where he was Irish, and of course with Kate Hepburn and Rooster Cogburn and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, big tough guy, but still had a soft spot for the ladies.
Anonymous Female Watches Edition.
Good movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it really is.
Actually, it was a good movie. I saw it for the first time.
I don't recall.
We
I watched it. You didn't see the beginning of it though. I watched it. I was watching it when you.
No. I was there one time while the preparations were being done. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
There's
only once though.
Normally, I go to my mom and dad there and doing the meatballs. Mom and my dad.
Good time though.
Yeah.
You know, I'd like to take John Wayne out to my job sites too. Point him out and say, you need to talk to this young man over here. He snivels and he complains a little too much. I want you to give him your opinion on sniveling and complaining and where his role is as a man in the world. Be interesting to see what he'd have to say to him.
Yeah. What about the Anonymous Female?
Well, when we were talking, about this, be around in this time.
This age.
But having listened to see how far and how little we.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Anonymous Female, who was it? Very interesting.
Yeah, I've actually thought about this.
That's a hard question.
Yeah,
because
it is.
There's so many, like, when you say celebrity, like, what do you mean by that? Do you mean, like, truly, like, entertainment?
No, I just mean somebody famous.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like a movie star or singer or whatever. But
there's not really anybody that's, okay, well, maybe, like, you think they're neat, but they may not have been a great person in real life. Out stable or like that. You're like, I'm in them personal.
I would have liked to also, just for an opposite effect, I would have liked to be able to sit in a crowd of Dr. King.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
How cool would that have been?
Absolutely.
Who?
Dr. Martin. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna tell you. I was like, I want to hear yours first, but then I want to add one extra. It'd be nice. Like I think have it the way that. But I also didn't want to turn this.
No.
Well, I said MLK,
Yeah.
but it's whether you liked him or not. Obama has a lot of those. Not as many. He does have quite a few of those same characters.
He's an orator.
He has a great order. He has a great order. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's just such a
I can't think of anybody I've ever listened to that had the cadence, the tone that Dr. King had, where he could sit there and memorize you. I mean, he would just listen to his speeches, and I've listened to many of them. Just that tone, how he raised and lowered his voice and put it out there, and how he spoke so eloquently in many different ways. Knew when to pause, knew when to hit it hard. Not just because he of who he was, but just the way he spoke is cool to listen to something.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like that James Earl Jones voice,
Yeah.
Every time James Earl Jones, he could be in Conan and James Earl Jones up there as the Snake King, and you listen to him.
But
cool stuff.
it's certain people's voices, they just have, you want to hear what they have to say, even if they're not talking about anything.
Yeah.
Like Morgan Freeman. You want to hear what he has to
Something
say.
that he narrates is something pretty cool.
He is, I guess technically today he is the voice of God. So, you want to hear what he has to say. I don't know, I thought about this question actually kind of long and hard because I don't know if I could narrow it down to one. Kind of the same thing. I would want to.
I would
you gotta
think you'd
pick
want to. I would think from
which obviously the Anonymous Female knows me pretty well because that's the one name that I was gonna say from.
Sorry.
Well, there's two names from music that I wanted to say because I would just love to have a conversation with them. Really would want to have a conversation with Big O. with Notorious B.I.G.
Ah,
Like, I want to have a conversation with him because I want to know. Well, one, where would he be today? He would still be relevant still. And then two, what are his thoughts on the industry? And how would it have changed or not had he never gone? 'Cause I think there was a lot of things that happened. The Biggie was kind of that one, especially in the rap world, he was that one authoritative, no, I'm the king. And he was pretty widely recognized. It was just like,
who wanted Biggie dead?
Well, that's
What did that boil down to? I don't know.
well, to tell you the truth, the jury is still out. But what it seems to be is on the West Coast there was
Conspiracy
there
theories,
was
anyway.
on the
Same
West
thing
Coast
with the two-pack thing and all that stuff.
which actually kind of boils to the same person, really. But
Who's Knight?
yeah, Suge Knight. At the end of the
Who was your other name?
from music.
Are you surprised I knew that?
I was no surprise. Yes. From music, Prince. I would love to have a conversation. One, I would love to have a conversation with Prince. Like,
No. I would love to
and
have
then
a
two,
conversation with Michael Jackson.
Which is the reason that I said this was so hard because I would love. Those are three conversations just from music. I would love to be able to have.
How hard would it be to have a conversation with?
You know what? From
That
everybody that
might be difficult.
Well, from everybody that I've had seen interviews with that actually knew Prince, they said he was actually really cool and really laid back and really down to earth. But he was he was to himself. So only the people who really knew him knew that side of him. So yeah, it would. Those conversations are the ones that I would love to have. Prince and Michael, selfishly, I would want them back purely because I never got to see them perform live. And the experience of going to a Prince or a Michael Jackson, from everybody that I know who has done it and didn't pass out, says they've never seen anything like it. And
I have a confession to a guilty pleasure. Bopping to Billie Jean on the way home today.
all right.
Okay.
Hey, you can't be mad.
This people don't know these things about me, but every once in a while,
Hey,
it happens.
I know that there are members of the panel not here today that are not fans. I love Michael Jackson.
It was good, man. I mean, I turned up the radio. It was good.
I will tell you, a question like this, I think being the first one to analyze that would be really hard to answer that.
Oh yeah,
Like
it becomes exponentially harder.
More
Yeah,
difficult with
I
the
think
time
what came
you
into
have.
my mind first, and so did you.
Yeah, I was like, well,
yeah.
just
You got to come up with something quick.
And I think that's why I couldn't narrow it down because I've been sitting with this question for days at this point. So it's like, I'm like, man, there's so many people I'd like to talk to, and including, to tell you the truth, probably everybody but John Wayne, to tell you the truth, that everybody's mentioned at the table. I would love to have conversations with these people. They're really interesting people. Not that I have anything against John Wayne, it's just he wasn't one of the people that popped into my head.
Good question. Good question, Rio. I like that. That was good.
From that era though, Sinatra. I would have a conversation with Sinatra.
No, I don't want to have a conversation with Frankie. I want to party down with Frankie. I want to party down with Frankie in the Rat Pack.
Oof.
Oh, yeah. I want them all.
Yeah, I want to go back in time to party. Yeah,
with Dino and, and all those guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so, next question. Without saying your age, what is something you remember from being younger that today's young people...
You say young people, we talking kids?
Well, for you, it would be kids. Young guy.
For me, it would be you.
No, the younger people don't understand. Something from your generation that younger people don't understand.
just for me, I could even say, like, I still remember my home, having a home
Good.
anymore.
That's good. Yeah, very few people will have a home phone number at this point.
I remember mine from because we moved.
So I will add to that it's. I remember as a kid because I didn't have a cell house and not have.
Yeah.
And now if I get 3 steps out of the door and I don't have my phone, whoa, there's time.
Like, I gotta turn around. Right.
And so with that, I would say, because if I don't have my phone, even if I've been to the safe, if I don't have my phone, I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Even when you don't pick your phone up to get there?
I'm the same way.
No, because I use if I'm going outside of my 4-block radius.
Yes. Kids, Dad says that all the time. You better learn how to read a map, because what if GPS isn't working?
And even if that's not the case, I'm sticking.
Although I do have to admit, driving to South Dakota and North Dakota and home, it was a little frustrating at times and a little freaked out when all of a sudden our directions were, offline, and we had so I still print them off.
That's what you get for listening to Bitch and Betty. All right? Bitch and Betty won't always tell you the truth. That's why it is good to know how to read a map. In fact, that's one of the things I do in the evening sometimes as I travel. I'll bring up the map, and I can go boats, or I can go with topographic. I travel. Seattle, I go to Seattle. I'll cruise the Olympic National Park in the peninsula there. Start cruising the roads. I'm seeing the mountains. I'm seeing where they are. I'm seeing the coast. I want to see something, I go see it.
Okay. On your phone, right?
On the phone.
Yeah, see the phone.
Well, on my pad.
By the way, if you see Welcome to
cool.
Canada,
You can go anywhere. I go on the pad with Google Earth and everything. That is what it is. You can literally go anywhere in the world.
But we're just talking about that's
and
GPS
Mars.
though.
You can do it with Mars.
I haven't gone to Mars yet. All right, I might have to do some mushrooms.
Wait, you go to Mars on your phone?
You can go to Mars on Google Earth. I know you can definitely do the. I know you can do the moon. I know you can definitely go to the moon.
So what about
I think
you?
they just added Mars.
That's cool.
What's
about
something
me?
from your?
Well, one of the interesting things, wasn't exactly what I was thinking about. Party line phone.
Oh wow, yeah.
We had party lines, especially out of Grandma's house, out
I think
the
we
country.
had those when we were young.
When I was a
didn't we?
kid, my grandfather had a
Yeah,
cookie
I got a
party.
friend whose marriage was broken up over the party line.
And you get on the phone, and our prefixes were something that was really strange. It'd be like, we were Axtel 4,
Okay.
and then your number,
I don't know what a
party
party.
line.
I don't know.
That's the
what
point.
All right, I'm finna say, you want
That's
to
the point.
explain
What
to
a
this
party
young
line
man the
was,
party line?
is that you basically got a single line running out, all right? And so on this line would be maybe 10 or 12 phones. So when the phone rings, everybody's phone would ring.
House between houses and
So you
whatnot.
pick up the phone to find out who it is, and then you go, yeah, this is for me. But so everybody would not necessarily hang up; they'll listen to your conversations.
Oh, okay.
You know, so
Just keep listening.
so if your cousin lived down the road, you tell your damn cousin, get off the damn phone. You don't need to be listening to what I'm doing. You can hear clicks. All right, and also back in those days, there were operators that when the phone call came in, they had to literally plug you into the line.
Yeah, patch
Well,
you. Yeah.
They had a big board
That
in
was
front
my
of them.
thing when we were talking about it. I was like, they don't know what operators are because they don't have home phones anymore. Well, I mean, I don't even know that you can dial 0 for the operator anymore. And
You get information.
and emergency breakthroughs. Well, now information is 211, not 0.
Probably not
Or,
zero. I
I'm
don't know what
sorry,
you get if you dial
411.
0.
411 is information. Did you know that? Dial 411 to get information. Like, can you tell me the phone number to such and such?
But I have Google.
This is before smartphones.
Yes.
This is before mobile phones.
Yes.
You could call 411. Well, originally it was the operator, and then it was 411. But even going to the operator before they had call waiting.
All right. Okay.
Do you remember call waiting?
I remember call waiting.
Okay.
And you made me
Before
think.
call waiting, you could call the operator and say, I need to do an emergency breakthrough on such and such line. And you'd be on the phone, and all of a sudden, I have an emergency breakthrough for Jackie, and it's so-and-so.
Anonymous female.
And you could hang up.
They used to do that for me too, and I was calling from the county
They wouldn't
jail,
have known.
and I had to get bail money.
Yeah.
So, but here's the other thing about the party lines in that time too. You were in the same prefix, dial 4 numbers. You didn't have to dial the prefix; you just dial 4 numbers. That's all you had to remember was 4 numbers. So it was a totally different time as far as communication.
I remember
went.
calling time and temp if you're outside. Do you remember that?
It's
think-
just so many things that
Wow.
you had to do with your phone that you had to know
Yeah.
here's how you get a hold of it. I remember calling the time and temp when we would want to go to the pool. What's the temperature going to be today? Because if it's not over such and such degrees, you can't go.
I think the thing I was going to bring up though, you brought the phone, so that kind of certainly brought my mind, and there ain't nobody in today's world would understand that young at all. I mean, you didn't. The fact that we once summer hit, even any time really, we would eat breakfast and we get turned out the house. We get on our bikes, haul off to
Go
all
outside and
places
play.
around, and
Be
we
home
had to
by
be
the
back for
time.
lunch, maybe. But we could make a phone call and say we were hanging out at so and so's house and having lunch over there,
Had to be
and
home by
you
the
had to be
time.
home by a certain time. And in fact, there was a family on my block that had an air horn mounted on a pole. And so when dark hit, the air horn hit, and the kids had X amount of time to get in. All
Ours
right.
was to have to be in the yard by the time the street lights came.
Right,
Yep.
that's
So it's
basically
fine.
And that
had to
was
be in
30
by the time
minutes
the street
before
lights
dark.
were on. That was kind of the rule. But we were turned out, and nobody had to worry about us. But the neighborhood knew every kid,
Yeah, that's the difference. Like
and
we,
if you screwed up,
yeah,
which I did a lot, before I even got home, it
Yeah.
would be in the folks' hands. And then if it was a serious enough thing, I got paddled or I got the belt taken to my ass.
By a neighbor.
my
And
parents.
there's no kid in the world right now that would even begin to understand corporal punishment.
Oh yeah, no, my dad
Not at all.
spanked us with
You
a
get
leather
thrown in
belt.
jail for that if you're a parent nowadays.
Hey, not just
Large part of the problem.
corporal punishment, but that a neighbor could whoop your ass.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
and drag you home and say, you know, I had to whoop Johnny. You know.
Yes.
And then your mom would say, what was Johnny doing? And once you explain what Johnny was doing, you get another ass whooping.
True. I mean, this is
Yeah,
not just talking to be funny.
Yeah.
This is how it ruled.
Yeah.
This is how it ruled.
Hey, we
we
as
were-
kids, we got the belt. Well, I should say my brother got the belt. I learned from
And see, that's how my daughter.
That's why the belt
You're
works so
always,
good.
you're always wearing masks.
That's how my daughter was. She learned what not to do by 5-year difference.
But you know, it was an interesting time, and when you look back upon it, you know, it instilled a lot of things in us, and they were not bad things; they were good things.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
you know, we also, our parents, you know, they didn't haul us everywhere. We didn't have all these activities. We just had time to be kids mostly. You know, we played baseball, and we had baseball practice, and we played pee-wee football and things. But it was
Socializing came from being how
You play
you're
cards.
lucky if you know your neighbor.
wiffle ball games. I mean, all the things that we used to do.
Shoot, we used to play kickball in the street.
Yes, throw rocks at each
Ride
other.
ride our bikes.
Every time they dug a hole for a house, me and the Kellogg boys would go have a dirt clod fight. Among the Kafer boys would get into us. Sooner or later, somebody
They
would get
were
hit in
down
the head
at
with
the
a
OK
dirt
Corral.
clod. Big old gash. Come running home, blood all down the face. Haul us down to the emergency room to get a couple stitches. Get a big old shave spot at the top of your head to look like a fool. Of course, we didn't have hardly any hair or anything because everything was cut about a 1/4 inch high. And we had crew cuts back in those days.
Yeah.
You go down to the barber and they're, want to leave a little hair pop? No, ain't gonna happen. Shave it off. That's just how the barber worked. And the barber was the center of
Oh, yeah.
activity.
Oh, yeah.
Which it still is, especially in the black community.
Oh yeah.
You
The
know.
barbershop is the hub.
And now I go to a little gay guy who Ty's a good dude. I enjoy going to him. Get my hair styled. I mean, if my grandfather heard that, he'd probably slap me up the side of the head.
Yeah.
Different time. It was just a different time, but it was an innocent time.
Yeah.
And really, the only thing that we really worried about a whole lot was the Cold War in Russia. Were we going to get nuked? That was on the news every
A
night.
lot of drills and desks.
We had civil defense rules
Yeah.
where they basically taught us, in case of nuclear war, you get under your desk and kiss your ass goodbye.
Yeah. True. So what about the anonymous female, or was that yours?
You kind of went through a few things. but
I went through the operator.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
just
just
the emergency
wondering.
breakthrough. I mean, like talking to my daughter about having the doctor fax something to the
Oh,
school,
yeah,
and
that
she
was
had
fun.
no idea what a fax was, and that was really hard to explain for some odd reason. I never.
Yeah.
You just don't think about how it works.
I struggled to understand. Well, it rings, phone attached to it.
But it's an analog line, and they don't understand what analog means. It's a hard-coded
Yeah.
line that
Yeah, right.
it's not up in the air hitting towers.
Yeah.
It's
but
like it's hard for.
anybody remember civil defense shelters?
I think we still have those in some places.
Yeah, so they had potable water in them. they would have a food source, and there were certain shelters that were in place in case of nuclear war.
Yeah.
And that's
They
basically
still
what
have
they were
bomb
for.
shelters.
Yeah.
And most small towns had one.
I think
I'm just
now
curious
they
if any
use
of-
those for tornadoes.
Yeah, they may.
Yeah.
And it's just.
Or they might be coming back. There
Yeah,
might be
they-
a resurgence of nuclear
They may be a
bomb
resurgence.
shelters.
They may be a resurgence.
What about you? What do you got?
All I got to say about that is that when I see the bright light, I'm driving at it. You guys have Armageddon and all the stuff that comes with it. I'm in for the light of it.
I hear you. I don't know. Actually, I think the thing that things hit me. Yeah.
Your parents saying no and not throwing a fit, or
Oh
that
yeah.
you didn't get
Yeah,
your,
that,
like,
yeah,
That's one
that
of
was-
your-
that
that's one of
wasn't-
your best
that wasn't-
stories.
That wasn't a possibility.
Well, it's not even that. It's just understanding that your parents had your best interest in heart. It wasn't,
Yeah.
Did you ever have your parent tell you that you can't be friends with somebody anymore?
Yeah.
I did.
Mhm. Absolutely.
I
You
sure
know, I
did.
remember that a couple of times. You know, you don't need to be hanging with that.
Not
Yeah.
talking to somebody of the opposite sex until you're a certain age.
Hmm.
I failed at that.
Yeah, I had 2 or 3
I
things.
can't imagine that.
I had 2 or 3 things. One, getting back to the phone thing. With home phones, there was only one line. So everybody had to call one line, and every call got screened because you didn't pay the bill. So what were you going to say?
We weren't allowed to be on the phone until our parents got home.
Oh, yeah,
That was before
'cause-
caller
yeah,
that
because-
was
yeah.
before call waiting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they called to check up on us because we were latchkey. That phone better not be busy when I call to talk to you.
Yep.
So the phone would ring and we'd be like, "Not mom and dad. I gotta call you back."
Yeah.
There was no
Yeah.
conversation
No
about it. It
conversation.
was like, "Gotta call you back."
Yeah, and they knew what that meant on the other side. Like it wasn't even a thing. The other thing that I thought about was interesting is that there is a lot of people, not even in daughter, like he doesn't remember a time when.
Ah.
Right, but
Like I was
but it's-
thinking like that's.
But you can
yeah.
go down that whole my daughter didn't know what a cassette tape was until I showed it to her.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah, an
8-track
album
tapes
and an 8-track.
totally blew
and,
their mind.
I mean, there's definitely so many things that or having to get up physically, go change the
channel on the TV.
On the television.
Do you remember the first cable box that had the wired remote?
Oh yeah,
And you just hope that you asked the cable guy for a longer wire?
yeah, yeah.
Now you sync up your phone and you can.
Yep. Exactly. I know. Okay, so
Well, I got
Wait,
one
wait,
word.
one
though.
other thing.
we got more. All right.
I was gonna
Wait,
say-
let's go to Brian first.
Encyclopedias.
Oh, the
Oh.
encyclopedia salesman.
Now you just Google it.
Yeah, right. You're right. Now you just Google it.
Well, actually, the door-to-door salesman, really. Remember the Kirby vacuums?
Right.
Ooh.
When you
Which
Yeah.
my mom still has a Kirby vacuum.
They're amazing vacuum
The
cleaners.
thing about the TV that you had to get up and change it
Mm-hmm.
is you may only have 3 channels to change it to.
Oh yeah.
Maybe,
Oh, yeah.
And if you lived in the city, maybe 4 or 5.
What was that one?
Yeah.
If you know what channel this is, and it was the
Oh, it was blurred out. Yeah.
And Ben said, "Yep,
Yeah.
channel 22."
Yep. I say you had. I mean, when we were growing up, you had. You have the VHF channels and the UF
Yeah,
channels.
yeah. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
But
You
really,
changed
you
the
only
knob
had.
and you had
You really only had
Not
ABC,
videotapes.
ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS.
And the,
That was
UBS channel, I mean, they were fuzzy. You had to put the rabbit
Oh,
ears
yeah.
in the right place to get that in. I also remember when we got a
Rabbit
color
ears.
TV.
I use those. But I missed the sound because I remember as a kid we had with the camera, and I missed the sound of when you turn it on.
They had the big old tubes in it.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah, the two
did like
warming up or cooling off. Yeah.
And all the static.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Good conversation on that.
Absolutely.
Brought back some things.
Okay, so here we go.
Here we go.
So the CBO with a couple political things, but I was sure that you would have something to say if heard anything, how you didn't hear anything about Congress. And so the CBO is saying that the new version of healthcare that he wants to put in is going to leave 4 million coverage between now and 2026. So one. Before we get to that specifically, what have we heard and what are we thinking?
Well, for me, I'm looking at it going, okay, Affordable Care Act had problems. I would have problems. I dealt at it with my employees. Saw that my employees got paid more money, were paying unbelievable pocket, and their deductions were very high. Why the employees didn't make as much money, certainly didn't have that. So pretty clear that there was some wealth redistribution going on. You guys are making a lot of money, you're going to pay a crap load of money for this in order to support these people over here. And also the people that didn't have insurance and have previous conditions. The thing that boggles my true mind that they 8 years, but really 7 years since the Affordable Care Act, and they tried to repeal it and repeal it and repeal it and repeal it.
Right. So what you don't understand is,
But you didn't have something in place already. That's my issue.
They still don't.
They kind of do.
Well, that's the thing is, I
I
think
don't want to say they
don't,
still
though.
don't because
Yeah.
because there is some things with tax brackets. Obviously, interstate commerce. There's some things there that need to be done. But their issue is going to be this: that basically they come out with Obamacare Light. Yes, they have. They really haven't changed a whole lot from it, because they're still going to allow people that have previous conditions to be on for the next 2 years. They're going to still allow your child up to 26 to be on it, so that hasn't changed much. The better provisions of Obamacare are still in play, and there were some good provisions of it. Mm-hmm. Now, what they're doing, instead of turning around and having a mandate, which I always had an issue with, because a lot of my employees, being just working class employees, end up paying fines of $650 or taxes, whatever you want to call it. They still didn't have insurance, so it had its issues too. They're going to give you a tax credit to help pay for your premium. I understand it's age related.
yes, it
So
will be
they're
more expensive the older you get.
Yes, and which is how insurance works. It's how insurance works for what I have in my group plan through my health insurance that I'm able to get for my employees and myself. Highest premium of all of them. I have a couple foremen that are in their 60s that have very high
get a larger credit.
get a
with the
larger
new
credit, but you do get a tax credit. So they've kind of left that in
That
place
doesn't
too.
help with the.
No, I'm not saying I agree.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying I agree either. These are the things they have in place. It's been real interesting. There's a doctor in Kansas, and he has a group, and you are able to pay $50 a month. Okay, this is interesting. $50 a month, and that $50 a month gets you your physicals. Cut your hand, need stitches, you go in and get stitches, extra. Basic health care needs, you got the flu or you got a bad cold, come on in. Going to give you some antibiotics, help you get strep throat, whatever, get you squared away. And then they have some other procedures that cost a little more. There are minor procedures, but they're fair priced.
Stuff that he can do.
And then what they tell you to do is go in and get your catastrophic insurance. So I have a heart attack. I need a stent. I have cancer. You have those coverages. But what is highly interesting, is that these doctors, they're not going to do this for free. They're obviously finding a way to make a profit doing this.
Oh yeah,
Because doctors are running a business just like anybody else.
absolutely.
So, to get back to my original point is that these people haven't thought it through. They're
Right.
beholden to so many lobbyists, to the insurance, to big pharma, equipment people, and everything that has to go with this.
Ice hit my face.
Sorry, anonymous female. I'm not trying to upset you here.
Do you have a drinking problem?
But
I do.
I guess my long-term point here is that
I'm not upset.
I'm trying to say that there's solutions. I don't think the ACA was all made. And I will bang on one person in particular, Nancy Pelosi, who said you got to read to see what's in it. And now she's saying, well, we got to know all what's in this before we can pass it. I'm kind of, okay, honey, come on, man. That's one of them come on, man things like they used to do on ESPN.
Yeah.
Come on. You can't, Schumer did the same thing. Come on, man. You can't have it both ways. And that's the political BS of it. The bottom line is that healthcare is a serious issue. We're paying too much money for it.
Yeah.
This is brutal. Most brutal thing I do in business, trying to get health insurance for my company. I would love to at least be able to pay 75% for all my employees that would want to. I would love that. That would be an absolute goal for me. I would be able to hire more people and retain more people because I could take care of my employees.
Yeah.
But right now it's so expensive and so outrageous that this can't happen. So there's ways to bring the cost down.
Yeah.
But it has to be done with the people in mind. Got to get away from the big money interest and say, what are we going to do for the American people to be able to come up with a real plan? I'm more of a capitalist. I would like to see it be more of a capital plan, but you got to be able to take care of all folks.
Hey, this is what was always what I don't understand. My fear hiring or electing businessman president was just this. At the end of the day, what it takes. Okay, in business, it's about making a profit and, of course, staying in business. But when you're dealing with the public, and in this case, dealing with people's literal life and death in your political hands, there's just some things that the profit motive don't work for me in, and this is one of them. So it's okay. So you have, which was my kind of one problem, Healthcare Act, that it was still helping the insurance company profit versus finding a way to get truly affordable health care for everybody.
And it didn't work for them.
No. And if this is the plan that, it was funny, I do remember President Obama left office, he did an interview, possible, the biggest thing being the Affordable Health Care Act. And he said, if somebody can come up with a better plan that is cheaper, covers more people, I will get behind it. Like, I will personally get out there and stump for it. He says, problem is, this is hard, really hard. And it's not gonna be an easy fix. And I don't know how quickly somebody's gonna come up with a better plan.
And I do think you're right in that aspect. It's going to take time. But I will say for Obama that if they do start coming up, this was not drafted by Obama. The ACA was not drafted.
No.
This was in place before when he came into office, drafted by other people. And I always felt it was unfair to follow Obamacare. You never heard me call it.
But you know why they call it that.
As I always say, Affordable Health Care Act too. It's just
you never heard me call it that,
right.
have you?
But you know why they call it that.
It's political.
Yes.
It's pure political. That's why it's unfair.
Yeah, they want you, if you dislike Obama, they want you to
But
dislike
that's the
all.
politics.
That's why
That's the tear down politics of today's world.
That's why they're fighting so hard to not call it Trump care.
That's the tear down politics. That's where we're at. Is then we got to be very careful here because the different media factions, the different political factions, are all about tearing down. Nobody's about saying, Trump could come out and come up with the most brilliant plan for this in the world that everybody could agree on, and there's still going to be a faction out there that's going to turn around and tear him apart. Same thing with Obama did it.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And I think that's a huge
This is the biggest problem we have.
Is that it's no longer what's the goal and let's make sure that. You're right. It doesn't matter what solution. Oh, they're wrong. They sit on that side of the aisle. They're wrong.
There were a lot of things that Republicans want this.
Trump has a lot more social ideas.
But it is kind of the same issue, and we talked about that during in January, right after he took office, that whether right or wrong, get people to understand what happened. Now the Democrats have to, or feel they have to do that. They're the minority. But it is frustrating for us.
It's the American people.
And that's where we have to continue, and I have been a lot recently writing our Congress. If you get enough people that raise enough hell, it does make somewhat of a difference.
Well, and that's really one of the reasons that some of the provisions Healthcare Act haven't gone away. We've had so many people going to their congressmen's offices.
Both sides.
Yeah, on both sides. Yeah, and protesting and calling and writing. I think that our congressmen and senators have been
overwhelmed.
Yeah, been overwhelmed by, I don't think anybody thought that the outcry was going to be big from both sides. I think the Republicans may have thought that the Democrats they're going to protest, they're going to have sour grapes, and we can ignore some of that. But I think they've been really surprised at go to town halls, supposedly friendly crowds, because they're their voters and their constituents, and they're getting the same reactions.
What I don't understand is when it became okay to not answer questions of yours. That not only are they not holding calls or holding questions, phone, letters, they won't even have to. They literally will not. And to me, We are supposed to be able to get those answers. Government is accountable to us.
Yeah, we put you
To
in
report
office.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't get that. I don't understand. You are just refusing to meet constituents because you don't want to answer a hard question.
Hey, what's going on, podcasters? Let's acknowledge the good friends of the Loft Party Podcast. The Majestic Restaurant and Pendergast Club, carrying on Kansas City's tradition of great food and great jazz, 931 Broadway in Kansas City, Missouri. The J. Rieger Kansas City Distillery, whiskey, gin, vodka. That is, oh so good. And friend of the podcast and panelist, Lane Boland, managing to keep the podcast going. Apparently wealthy or not. Now onto our regularly scheduled program.
It's a little shock and awe. It's a little shock and awe. The
Yeah.
reason Trump got elected is that we have to go back to that basic premise. The interesting thing about him getting elected is that there is an uprising of people that are saying, this is BS. We're tired of government as it exists. One thing we really should give Trump credit for is saying that you can't be a lobbyist for 5 years after you get out. He's trying to take some of this power away from these. They like that power. They know that that's their money. And so, you know, he's banging on these people in some ways too, and he's not getting enough credit for that in my opinion. He is trying to, all right, people elected me for this. The people say I need to try to do this. I realize he's 50 days in.
But okay,
but
you have to realize he's 50 days in. You don't have to do every single thing first 100 in the first 50 days that you had your platform.
Well,
on.
there's going to be some.
I mean,
there's going
you
to be
need
mistakes made, but
I think that you need to pick one thing all the way through. Somebody that has never done something like this, it's just throwing shit up against the wall and something might stick. I mean, even his second travel ban is already 2 or 3 states are already.
Yeah, but that really, they really don't have a leg to stand on with those.
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a judge, so I can't answer to that.
Heavily and
But you're not a lawyer or a judge either.
No, but also you look at it and you'll see this isn't a whole lot different than other presidents.
Okay, but they're not president right now.
Yes,
so
they're not. But
it's
hypocritical to state that, okay, well, this president did it because you're doing it. This is part of the going back to what I've said.
I don't think that's
They're trying
the
to tear
issue.
everything
The
apart.
issue is the way that they're handling it. I think that was the issue with the first one. You just throw it out there and you give nobody time to figure out what they're supposed to do.
They did
That's
a
what
bad
I
job
mean
at it.
about stepping back and doing things right.
But that was an overall consensus that they did a bad job.
Yeah, well, I think the
I'm not saying it's just Trump. I'm just saying that you need to step back. You've got an entire cabinet, most of the cabinet, and yourself that have never done anything like this before. Shouldn't be just throwing stuff out there that quickly. You should think about what you're doing.
I don't disagree with you totally on that, but at the same time, are doing.
yeah,
And there's
Doing
and there will be
that's
some
like
things.
saying
There will
that
be
is
some
like
things that
saying
come out
I'm
of it that
gonna
are
go, but that's like saying I'm gonna go and I'm gonna frame this house in and I'm gonna do it in an hour because I need to get it up and I don't really care what happens to the rest of it. We got it done. We said we were gonna get it done, so we did.
Well, this is part of the problem, but it also does spur some action. Sometimes it's a reaction and it goes back and forth. But the question is, I think, is what's going to happen in the long term with them? Short term, right now, what does it have a good effect in the long term? Does it have a bad effect?
He's doing
it's
all of
it's the
these.
long term effect of things that really matter, not the short term effect.
So you think about what he said about how, he's done, isn't it? So
I don't remember that.
Well,
part.
I remember during the campaign, I do remember him saying that it was a big problem for him.
the Republicans in general said.
That Obama was quote unquote ruling by executive order, and I'm like, but Trump has come in and done more executive orders in a shorter amount of time.
Oh yeah.
than Obama did in the same amount of time.
But he doesn't care what they think.
Well, and I guess, but I guess what I don't understand, getting back to the actual topic of the podcast is how that's okay. I do understand that you want change, you want things to move forward, and I really do get all that. Problem is, are we, to borrow from the anonymous female, are we throwing stuff against the wall, seeing what sticks, versus like with the healthcare, like you were saying, how could it be that you've tried this hard to repeal it, from day one, from 7 years ago.
Without a good plan.
And you didn't have a plan to replace it.
This has been my fear all along.
This is what I don't understand. I was talking to a friend, and they were like, "Oh, well, you're against Republicans in general." I said, "No, that is absolutely not true." My problem is you're gonna go from whether their thinking was flawed or not. You're gonna go from a person and a team who was actually quite thoughtful about every action they made to a team that is seemingly not thinking about any of their actions. They're just trying to implement, and that's not helping. You know what I'm saying? We're not actually accomplishing anything other than and maybe the silver lining is the thing that we're accomplishing. Americans are becoming engaged.
They're very engaged on both sides.
On both sides of
and that's not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
And I think that's what this election ended up being all about, is that we are engaged again. We've had enough of the status quo. The status quo has not worked. The status quo is not working for us. We have great inefficiencies in government. We have duplicity in government. It does need to be pared down and run better. There's a lot, and the different departments need to be. I think one of the things that have upset most Americans is that so many of the departments have become politicized. And I don't give a damn that you being politicized. I want you to function as your department's supposed to function.
Yes.
Which is common sense, good laws, good regulations. These are things that we want to see. We don't want you to crawl all over us so much that we are so overregulated and we have to turn at every turn to try to get away from all the regulations and what we got to do. I tell you in business that even as a small business as I am, I get affected by it, very much so. Yeah. I sat down with Senator Julia Lynn at the HBA the other day, talking over, of course, the fact that Brownback may go on and go bye-bye. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of problem with that.
It doesn't seem as if people are going to.
So but the interesting thing when you deal on a state level, and what I expected from Senator Lynn, states cannot print money.
Yeah.
State has to come up with a budget that works and is real. One of the things we were talking about, that we had a problem with this kind of little off topic, but they were going to tax our labor. Right. We don't want to tax our labor because we got to compete against Missouri.
Exactly.
Tax my labor, I'm probably going to move to Missouri. I'll move my business out of Kansas. And, how do you do it? Well, they got the LLC exemption. I'm saying, well, okay, government's about compromise. You guys got to come up with some budget money. I don't have a huge problem with me taking that LLC exemption away from me. I'm a subchapter S corporation. In fact, it affects me the same way.
You're in Missouri or Kansas?
So you're able to generate some revenue. And by doing that, also, how many businesses are out there paying cash under the table, not paying their taxes? Go after these businesses. Teach them how to run a legitimate business. Yeah. Even if you have to grandfather them for a year. Teach them how, hey, this is what you got to do. And Missouri's doing that right now. You hear the ads on the radio about misclassification of employees. They're going after you because they know they need to generate revenue. Every time I hire somebody, I'm generating more revenue for the state because they got to pay their taxes and I got to pay their taxes because I have a certain amount of employee distribution that I have to put in.
Money, they're going to go spend taxes again.
Bingo. So, but in both of these states, you're dealing not only with the construction industry, you're dealing with the agricultural industry. The agricultural industry has always been, and you grew up out there in that type of territory. So did you, anonymous female. Mm-hmm. They like to pay cash. Yeah. They like it under the table. They don't want to have to turn around and run that type of business. These are, in a microcosm on a state level, really applies to what the national level is too. Oh, yeah. They got to come up with money. How do you come up with money and not hurt the people in doing so?
I remember, but getting back to what we were talking about, medical side, you were talking about the doctors. I remember when I was young, and I think I may have mentioned this on the podcast before. I was a visit. Like I say, if it was, cold or strep throat or whatever, you got your office visit, your shot, and he gave you medicine you were going to need to get well for $50. And I'm like, what happened to is it not possible for doctors to operate that way?
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, if it is possible for doctors to operate that, is part of the problem.
Necessarily. Interesting fact. with all the regulations and all the red tape, all the tort, and everything else that doctors have to deal with, especially like you take St. Luke's, University of Kansas, they have, per doctor, 25 to 35 of HIPAA laws and everything else that they got. So a lot of the cost is coming from over-regulation to be able to deal with all the things that they have to deal with, and add them in so many ways.
Very sensitive topic. Talk about, you don't want to screw up today.
Yeah, of course.
But, right, it could happen. I'll tell you that there's schools and it takes a really, really long time.
Yes, it does.
It's really interesting. I've actually read one of the things said, you may have this shit is a paycheck or that way. Doctor find unlike any.
Yeah, which, I, being honest, I don't fully understand why Americans, other countries' system so harshly. Yes, are certain things get some other country, fully admit that. But, that, like I say, you have the flu, you get over it. Stuff like that, that you don't have to go to the hospital. Let's separate for kind of primary care. Seems to me that the primary care side of things could be a lot. Now, like I say, you broke a leg, cancer, you need
Having a baby?
Yeah, you need to have.
It could be positive.
Yeah, right. You're having a baby. You need dialysis. There are certain things that yes, they're going to be expensive, and going to need real quality insurance to take care of those things. But I'm really kind of for insurance for the big stuff. Cash and carry for the little stuff.
But it's not little anymore. I mean, you go to just your regular office visit, dollars just to walk in the door, depending on what they do.
I guess that's what I'm saying.
I think
That really is my point. Like, why is some of this stuff for your minor everyday things
So we
expensive?
had somebody come in, and I think I told you about this. We have offices, and we had somebody come in, got sick, doctor, and he's like, was really beyond his doctor's office. He's like, I can walk.
You have to go to urgent care.
And we said, you have to go to urgent care. Like, it was just beyond belief to him, that doctors are paid less in other countries, but they're paid salary. Don't pay to go to the doctor.
I mean, it is a system where the government is paying the doctor, but that $200,000 a year paycheck isn't then getting siphoned off between paying back your student loan and practice insurance and anything else that
regulation, administration fees,
exactly,
tort reform.
Yeah,
I mean, all this stuff is what drives our cost up, and that's what we have to. If we're going to have true reform, that's where it's going to have to be. If somebody leaves a sponge in you in surgery, it's not worth $20 million. Cut your back open, give you surgery, give you half $500,000. Workman's comp is very interesting. If you get injured on the job, which I fell off some houses several, and you are allowed X amount of dollars for your injury. All right, I broke my wrist in 14 places, had 2 pins put in. They gave me a 17% disability in my 17. If I signed off, then I'm saying, okay, I'm good with my wrist, worth X amount of dollars. I want to say it was worth $9,000. Okay, and that's where it is. You can't go and sue. You can go get a lawyer. You can go for more money with workman's comp. By the time you pay the lawyer, you're probably going to get pretty well what you were going to get in the first place. Maybe a little bit more.
Right.
A little bit
you
more.
might wind up with 12.
All right. So this would be one thing that would help. That there's going to be some things happen. My business, my foreman's biggest complaint was this architect screwed this up. Well, yeah, you're right. That architect made a mistake, or that engineering firm made a mistake on that. It's not going to work. Well, they make mistakes just like we do. My foreman make mistakes too. I make mistakes. You make mistakes. We all make mistakes.
We all make
at work.
mistakes from time to time.
Everybody makes mistakes.
We're all human beings.
But it is just a mistake. In a medical situation, you can really mess some people up, so it's worth a lot more in the mistake than what it might be in a lot of other things. You're dealing with somebody's life. You've taken on that risk. You become a doctor. That you didn't cross that I or dot that T in something. You were at a bad day. I'll have bad days. So, when you think about something like that, that's really where some of the cost comes from. I don't know enough about socialized medicine in other countries to deal with those issues.
Well,
but
one
for
thing I
him,
can...
you can hit a lot of them.
Yeah, the one thing I can say, if there's in Canada, you could still sue. It's not as if you can't still sue. And the interesting thing is, not only can you sue, but who you're suing isn't that particular doctor, that particular hospital, and basically bankrupting those institutions. You are suing the government. In which case, like you say, you may wind up at the end of the day with that same $10,000, $15,000 payout, but on the front end, you can just walk into a doctor's office and say, "Hey, I think I have the flu." And now they are paying more in taxes. I'll give you that. And I've had this argument with a lot of people.
And everybody pays. It's not regressive.
Yeah. No, everybody pays.
Everybody pays.
Yeah, everybody
tax, which
pays.
is the one thing we don't have here, because when we do that, then it's called a regressive tax, because we're taxing the poor people more. We've always had this deal where we're not supposed to tax the poor people. People are supposed to do it. Everybody pays their share.
Well, and my thing, I guess I've always.
Well, to Chris's point, it's a 20% tax.
Yeah.
It's 20% of your income, his income.
But everybody has
20%
skin
of-
in the game.
Yeah,
Yes.
but everybody
You're
has
paying
skin
20% of your income, not 1% here, 25% here, 30%, depending on your income bracket.
Yeah, and what loopholes you can find to get out of it.
Which is our bad tax laws.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I've definitely had arguments with people over the years. They don't want to go to, some quote unquote, socialist medical system, because then the government's going to be responsible whether you live or die. And I'm like, but here's the thing. Depending upon the country, like France, let's say the anonymous female has a baby, and
You say not again.
let's say you do. Let's say you do. For the sake of argument. For the sake of argument, let's say you do.
Okay.
I perked her up real quick.
We've had this conversation many times.
So let's say you do, for the sake of argument, that you have a baby, and not only do you get more maternity time off. Let's say you just need help around the house, help with the baby, or help around the house, or whatever. It's actually part of their system. They will send a maid or nanny to you while you're on maternity leave.
Because it's not just help with the baby. It's
They'll wash your dishes,
yeah,
they'll do your
it's
laundry.
not- yeah.
It doesn't matter what you need. You need some help. And you can say, "Hey, I just had a baby, I need some help."
But not only
And they
that,
send somebody to
we
your
had-
house.
I was
You don't have
watching.
to physically go someplace. They send a person
Yeah.
to your house. They still have house call doctors that will show up at your house at 3 o'clock in the morning, and because you're too sick to get out of bed, and they'll come and see you at home. I think they're, and yes, let's getting back to it, they pay more in taxes.
Right, but
Absolutely, they do.
Here, in order for that, you'd have to call 911 and have a 10,000.
Exactly.
Part of the problem.
Wait, before you get in, because I cut the non-female off. You were saying something about it.
No, it was going down that. Really wasn't. Like for us, I don't know if the rest of the world does it either. Like I was watching if there's two moms, does only one mom get maternity leave and the other one doesn't? And why isn't it the same for the same amount of
Maternity
leave?
and paternity.
Yeah, because it relegates men to having a very limited role, I guess.
Yeah.
Because those first 3 months
That's
are
hard.
massively important to baby, and it's bonding. That's why, in my opinion, there are some men that don't off, which is fine if that's what you and your partner choose to do. But it's
Have
just
the option.
Yeah, like it's not even an option. You get 3 days paternity leave.
Right.
Period.
I think-
If you're lucky. I mean, you do at our company.
But I would say things are getting better. I feel like I see post maternity leave even. I don't think. I'm
Well,
surprised by
okay,
that.
so our company, or my company, allow you to take FMLA. Minimum, certain things you can after you have.
I think one of the problems, though, you deal with this, that a larger company has a better ability to be able to do that. But if you're a smaller company, margins are a lot narrower. Telling somebody, I'm going to give you 6 weeks and pay you for 6 weeks, that's
it's tough.
they don't have that
It
money.
hits the bottom line.
So that creates some of the
Well,
problem. One of the interesting things that Trump has come up with, though, is that he did talk about having more of a family leave. And he also did talk about this, and I think this is a huge deal, is that let's get daycare for people to work. You got a single mother out there.
Yeah.
She needs to go to work. kid or daycare. And then DW has always had one of the best ideas I've ever heard. You know, DW is pretty socialist in a lot of aspects, but he says, set up daycare. You got that woman who has 6, 7 kids. She ain't working. She's on the tip 100%. She don't do nothing. Well, she's gonna go earn some of her money. She has to go spend 8 hours in that daycare every day. She can haul her kids down with her. And I said, you know, that's an interesting concept. You know, earn. If you're going to get welfare money, you're going to have to go out and earn your money. And these are interesting.
I don't think that, I mean, that's a pretty broad brush. There are women that I work with that do not come back to work after the child because daycare is so expensive that it's cheaper for them to not work.
Right, so this set them up so where they can work.
Right. So it's not, you're always going to have people that would rather, always going to have that. I mean, certain number of people
Make it
that
a
are
little
lazy.
harder on them, though.
But I mean, there's always ways around it. I mean, there's always ways around it.
Take their money away, they'll find a way to get there.
Well, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation because
Yeah.
you're talking about, you know, welfare and all of that. And
But it still is part of the same plan that you need to find ways. Once again, I call myself a socialist conservative. Ways to have good social programs, still be able to have a capitalistic act.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I understand about socialized medicine is that you're right 100%. It's easy. Your basic care is really easy. For extensive care, difficult
Can be
to
more
have the
difficult.
timing
Yeah.
to get in and taken care of.
Yeah.
Which can be life-threatening.
Yeah, well, you know, like I have a cousin literally just this year, well, middle of last year, moved back from Sweden. And yeah, so most care is pretty easy to get, but my aunt, God rest her, she needed dialysis. So if she was going to travel to cousin, definitely going to have to do fairly extensive planning, able to have her dialysis while she was there. And of course, that's the case for, you know, anybody who lives there. And that's why I say I do know that a complete socialized healthcare system wouldn't work here. But I do believe that we're doing ourselves a disservice by not at least taking a serious look at some of the socialized systems, seeing
Pick the better
yeah,
parts of it.
exactly
And
that
how do
could
we
work.
combine them with our capitalistic society?
Exactly, because I really do believe there's a part of our medical system that could be socialized, quote unquote, and there's a part that probably couldn't.
And there is really a part that is quote unquote, because if you're indigent or poor, they're going to put you on Medicaid. They're going to take care of you. You're not going to get the best care of you.
Exactly.
But it is there. We do have socialized medicine in that aspect.
Which
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you're old to get it either.
no, just
you
means
can be very young to get it. So
well, that's Medicaid.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get messed up on which ones.
yeah, but I do agree.
We do have a fail-safe.
Yeah, and I guess what I'm saying is, since we already have the fail-safe, isn't it figure out how to expand those programs so that for basic medical needs, use that. Everybody does. Everybody uses Medicaid or Medicare for that, and then or Medicaid for that, and then for, like you say, much more robust needs and care. That's when maybe your insurance that you are paying for every month kicks in. I mean, you know, I don't claim to have, you know, all the answers, but I know there's a better way than Affordable Health Care Act, and I know there's a better way than the AmeriCare Act, because both of these are really flawed plans that really lean pretty heavily on providers as we use them today. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe we shouldn't be thinking about how we use them, of how we need to be using them in the future, because
Right. This change needs to happen.
yeah,
And we all know that, and they just haven't quite got their stuff together on it.
Well, everyone that shows up to wheel every time.
Yeah,
for it, it's
yeah,
like,
and
why not
I
look
don't
at
think-
other examples that are working really
yeah.
well?
I mean, like I say, just parts. I mean, you don't have to say, oh, we're going to use, all of Canada's system or all of the UK system or all of France's system or all of anybody's system. But these 2 or 3 things that they do really well.
Yeah.
And maybe we can figure out how to implement those things into what we do.
and go hire an expert on
and-
from there.
And
say,
right,
help us.
and build from that point, right. Anyway, I think we have gone down the
good conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've gone down the medical rabbit hole quite a bit, and probably can go down it for another hour. But before I move to the next thing, were there any other? Just don't understand.
For me, it's going to be the immigration issue.
What?
I just can't understand why they can't take a broader view. I'm working very strongly on a lot of workforce labor. Why there's so many workers, not just Latinos, the Chinese, there's all kinds of workers. Let's look at our immigrant workforce here. Why we can't turn around, able as businesses in particular, sponsor some of our workers to where they get work visas, where they become documented, where businesses have to pay them fair wage, a real wage, pay the taxes. I want to talk about having to generate revenue. There's another way to revenue. Give them either a chance to maintain their citizenship in their countries. Maybe you're here 9 months and 3 months you're gone. And where I can sponsor them and say, this is a good employee. This person's going to spend 9 months working for me. He's 3 months gone. 3 months later, I want the red tape to be less, to where we can turn around and get him back or her back in here to put him back to work. This does not, in my opinion, denigrate the American worker. I think this is, as long as they're getting paid what the American worker should be getting paid, and paying their taxes.
Well,
now,
if they're paying legally.
if they immigrated here illegally, a lot of them have, then they should have get any benefit from their Social Security for 2 or 3 years.
That's what I don't understand.
And you turn around, but you also can put them on that passport citizen to where they can turn around and get in here. Yes, you have to secure the border, but you also have to deal with the reality of the people that are here and how you do it. And you do have to get the bad people out. I'm not much on the sanctuary cities. I think it's BS. That's not how you're going to take care of people. You take care of people by integrating them into your. Most of us, even if you were a slave, you were integrated into society, correct?
We're not going to have that conversation at all.
No,
But
they
We're not going to have that conversation.
But you were
that's a
brought here.
That's a longer conversation.
Irish.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that's a longer conversation than we have time for.
But my point being is that we all came. Most of us came from an immigrant society, and most of them, when the immigrant societies came here, were looked down upon.
Yeah.
They had a rough go.
Absolutely.
Because they were the new ones that showed up, and they were the crap, and the crap did the cheap labor.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. But we were all brought into this what his country is now.
Yeah.
And we all evolved into what it is now. And no matter where we came from, whether we were indentured servants or slaves, we immigrated here legally, it doesn't matter. We all ended up in this place. This is my main point.
Yeah. No. And I agree with that. I mean, we're here, so therefore, how do we assimilate people into our society where they become American? And that's the real bottom line, because that is what America is. Yeah. That is what America is. It is the melting pot.
And we have to be able to assemble that group of people back into our society and find ways to make them work. Especially, let's say you're a landscape worker. They don't want to work in the wintertime. There ain't no work here anyway. Go home for 3 months.
Or fix your truck with a plow and push snow the rest of the time. Because you got to do something.
So that's the one thing I don't understand. The policy on immigration it is not working. It's not going to work in any form that they come up with. So where it is.
Brain mass?
A wall's not going to fix it.
Okay. I agree, but that was a very definitive statement. Just wall's not going to fix it.
Well, and I don't understand how you have to have, supposedly, you have to be paying some type of taxes. You have to have paid something in that you belong here in some way. Well, how are you getting any benefits whatsoever?
Because it's bad IRS practices.
Yeah, but it's not their fault. That's the government's fault for not having a better system.
But it's a lot easier to make your point if you turn and you say they're getting all these. So
but Mario and I have had this conversation. There are a lot of jobs in this country.
I mean, at the end of the day, do you want to go pick fruit? No, absolutely not. And there's a lot of immigrant workers and a lot of migrant workers.
But I don't. But people have my mentality.
Yeah, no, I think that's the point. I think that Americans, to a certain extent, are spoiled on some levels. Yes, there are people.
You've worked 2 jobs.
Oh yeah,
I've worked 2 or 3 jobs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We did what we had to do. There's a lot of people in America who wouldn't even think of doing that.
Yeah.
Especially those damn millennials.
They barely want to work one job.
And that's of course coming from the millennial If there's no more, what I don't understand is
we can go a long way.
Yeah,
with it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I think we touched some good topics.
Yes. I do want to touch on one last quick thing, and another thing that I don't understand is how are people constantly getting over the fence at the White House?
I know, but it's so
understand.
ironic.
I don't understand.
Because aren't we wanting to build a fence?
Oh, and like right. It's like
I just think it's
how
ironic.
are people constantly getting over the fence? I don't understand how people are constantly getting subdued or arrested on the lawn of the White House.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
I'm going to speak for Lane. Okay? I'm speaking for myself. But Lane would say, they jump over the fence, you shoot them.
Lane would say that.
And that will stop them from jumping the fence.
Why isn't it electrified?
That's what I was thinking.
Like, why wouldn't they have a dual fence?
Yeah, or
You know what I want them to do?
There's a perimeter.
At
Like,
least razor wire
we
over the top.
have
Something.
better.
I'm
We
like, I
have
don't
better
understand.
freaking
Yeah.
security at our data center than the White House does.
Yeah,
I want
I'm
them
like,
to.
it's crazy to me.
I want them to electrify it. Shocked. It's electric. Every time. And that would be so funny. And it
Wait a
would be
second.
awesome.
Wait a second. Now, when I grew up on the turkey farm,
That's funny.
coyotes were a problem. Coyotes like turkeys.
Yeah.
Okay? So we had an electric fence all the way around the turkey farm. And I can testify, you bump into that electric fence, that little wire would make you jump.
Yeah.
All right?
First time
So
I ever touched
if they
an
just
electric
ran,
fence. Ooh.
they just got some farmer to come out of Iowa somewhere and rig himself up a little electric fence with all the little, connectors all on the top of it. So once they get to the top of that point, they hit that electric thing, they're gonna go, I ain't going over.
See, and that would be, imagine the entertainment value of just like,
Yes, it would be a great entertainment value.
just the
You
security
YouTube it.
footage would be fantastic.
Oh, that would be. Yeah. Now, I've thought about electrifying a fence. I've thought about razor wire in the fence. I didn't think of playing "It's Electric" when somebody gets shot. That's hilarious.
Oh, it's YouTube moments, man. They'll be all over the place.
Oh yeah. Just
See, there's your millennial.
Right,
The millennial's
exactly.
thinking about
Exactly.
how can we put this?
How
I'm
we
gonna
put
stand out there with my phone and watch this idiot jump over the fence, and I'm gonna film him. I'm gonna put it on YouTube, and I'll get 2 million views in 3 days.
I don't think razor wire is a good idea because that's kind of associated with like prisons.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I
And
get it.
communism.
It's like a bad.
It's like a
it's
Berlin
bad
Wall.
thing. Like
I get it.
I
get
don't
it.
understand why you either don't have a dual fence,
But a
so
little
there's a
electrical-
perimeter that people can they can walk,
Little electric
and
fence.
or
Little line.
why it's not electrified.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
you know what?
you know-
The dual fence thing actually makes sense to me. So you have the fence that you can lean on and look. Oh, it's the White House. Then if you make it over that fence, there's another fence that's electrified that you can't get over without hearing. You can't see it. It's electric. That's hilarious. Actually. On that
So
note,
you can jump between the two fences
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then sit there and do the electric slide.
Exactly. And on that note, I am going to end this podcast in the way I end all podcasts, and that is with the toast that started it all for me. And that is to good times with good people.